Three, two, one. All right, welcome to Mediocre Rumble Brothers. I'm Jordan, your host, and the team Corey, Edwin, and Udon. Today we'll be discussing arcade games, but before we do this, let's go ahead and just talk about what we did this week. Corey, how about yourself?
I was playing the game of the month, begrudgingly. At least last night's session was not very great, but YouTube stuff. I finally have all of the YouTube episodes rendering and ready to start uploading, so we'll be current with that, so that we can do an episode the same week that we also launch it on Spotify. But other than that, I've been patiently waiting for the Elden Ring DLC and kind of just bouncing around playing a bunch of other games for recording sessions. Played some Mario Party with Edwin this weekend and promptly lost. But
well, we both lost that one.
Yeah, no, the computer was just cheaping us pretty hard. So
whose fault was that for putting them both on hard?
That's the only way to play it.
Loaded dice.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he's a man about it. Edwin, talk. What'd you do this week?
Besides playing games with Coralie, I ain't done shit.
Coralie?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
You said it sounded like Coralie.
New Final Fantasy character.
Yeah.
Or it's his quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly.
There, that's the name of the episode.
Yeah, see, on topic. There you go.
Well, besides playing games with Coralie, the only other thing that I've really done is just clean out my Pokemon home and then maybe play like a little bit of Pokemon. That's literally it. I have done nothing on my own.
How'd you clean it up? Are you like getting rid of them or like organizing your home?
Getting rid of a lot of them.
Burying them into candy. I've been meaning to do that, but mine's just a fucking mess. It's just like I can't find anything. The search function and I really hate how in the fucking Pokemon Home you can't just fucking click a box and start typing in the name of the Pokemon you want to find. I have to like go to the search function, hit the filters, go by Pokemon species, and find which one in the alphabetical list of Pokemon I'm looking for. It's just like a 12-step process instead of just being able to just bring up a type box and type in what the fuck I want to find. It pisses me off.
Well, it also doesn't like rearrange. Like if you swap boxes, it doesn't rearrange the name. It's just like, oh, here's box 1, 2, 186, 4, 5.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all I've done. Oh, well, wait, but Corey didn't even mention it's like we played Mario Party and Mario Kart. So we played.
We played Mario Party, but not Mario Kart. Yeah.
Yeah, we played the last part of the DLC. The levels are fun.
Yeah,
I just like Mario Kart Deluxe, anyways. Like that one's so good.
Yeah, I like the Mario Kart Tour tracks, but it sucked playing it on the phone. So it's much better playing it on Switch.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking when they did that, to be honest.
Well, didn't that one wasn't almost like an auto racer?
Kinda.
Yeah.
You like auto drifted and stuff. I mean, the question is like, how realistically are you gonna make like a good Mario Kart game on phone that only uses like touch controls? It's like I don't understand what they were thinking, how they thought that was gonna go down.
Yeah, I mean, it was decent, but it was like pretty much motion controls on your phone. But you had to hold it upright. You can't hold it sideways. And it also was a gacha game.
A lot of gacha games actually do it sideways. Weirdly enough, Nintendo actually really, when they have... Actually, I can't think of a Nintendo mobile game they have that actually has your phone turned sideways, because like all the ones that I've used have always had it in vertical orientation. It's just unusual. Like every other gacha game I've ever played has always been sideways because they prefer having it to be widescreen.
Yeah, but I don't know. I played it like maybe like 3 times, and that was pretty much it. So I've completely forgot what the screen looked like, that it required it to be upright.
Yeah.
But what did you do this week?
Let's see. This week, what did I do? Besides playing the monthly game, which I actually finished yesterday, I didn't have as much time as I did last time we played to actually play stuff. I'm just like random stuff, just mainly my gacha games, and a couple things on the on my retro consoles. I'm determining what I'm going to play next. I think right now what I'm stuck on is that I went back to it, but I think the thing I played the most this week was the Advanced Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp on the Switch, because I was It's one of those times when you're browsing YouTube for something to watch and just like randomly find something that you get sucked down into a rabbit hole, because I found like a bunch of videos being like people didn't really like the Reboot Camp remake for them, because I really like Advanced Wars. I loved playing them on the Game Boy, and I thought the remake was pretty decent. Watching the videos about people like complaining about it, it's like the thing that I got from it was like, I think the people who played the game in like a very, very serious fashion, essentially, like the people who like took it to tournaments and stuff, they're not that happy with it, because I think this is a case again of like how people view like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, how people don't really like those remakes either, but it has more to do with like them not adding enough in, basically, because like, and again, I would agree with them, because like Pokemon like Heart Gold and Soul Silver added a bunch of stuff to do to the games, whereas like Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, they basically, it was a paint by numbers remake, for lack of a better term. So it's like, it's the games, but that's it. And it's like, it's cool that they brought back the underground with like Wi-Fi and shit, and that's really neat, but at the same time, like butchering secret bases to where you can't really customize them at all also really sucks. But my point being is that people were like not crazy happy about the more intricate parts of the Advanced Wars Run into 2 remake, because there wasn't like enough added. But I'm kind of talking around the point here. I was a casual fan because I really liked the remake. I think it's really good. It was remade by WayForward, and they're like one of my more favorite like companies, specifically because they made their like claim to fame is Shantae, and that's one of my like favorite platformers ever. And I just adore their arts, because the art style of the game and the music is like vastly improved. Even the people who didn't like it would say like the art style is like amazing, because that's like what WayForward's best at, is character design. And the music and the art style is great. The in-game graphics are a bit janky, because of course, like with most remakes, when it was like on the Game Boy, it was all pixel art graphics, and now we're all using 3D models for the like actual in-game graphics, which I'm always an advocate for pixel art. I love pixel art. I think it just looks better for these sorts of things. If anything, I kind of wish WayForward found some way to, because like the COs, the team captains you play as in the game, they're all done in 2D with WayForward's like art design, so they look really great. But all like the units in the game are all 3D models, and they don't look as nearly as good as they do. And I kind of wish they found some way to like take their 2D stuff and translate it into to put that on the screen, just keep the whole thing 2D, right? I just kind of wish they found some way to do that. And I was just making my way through playing the first campaign, the second campaign. I don't know. My point being is like, I feel bad for some people when these kinds of remakes come out and they're like not super exactly what they were looking for, because I've had that feeling before. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's good. You know, it's like, I think it's serviceable. I don't know how well it's sold, because the poor thing had to be delayed a few times, because one time they weren't ready, and then the second time it was because that war broke out. But they delayed it because of that. But now I'm just kind of rambling. But yeah, I was just playing Advanced Wars. I like Advanced Wars. In fact, I want to like see how much like the GBA copies are, because I actually don't have cartridges of them. I would like to have them back, and I never actually played like Days of Ruin on the DS either. Now I'm rambling. Anyways, that's what I did this week. Jordan, what did you do?
Yeah, I was able to get my kids on board. We played some Dark Legacy. That was fun. I got my 2 girls on, and we were having a good time. I guess the selling point I had to get them to want to buy in was just like, one, you could play as girl characters, which they enjoy. And then second, apparently by how I was watching it, going through, they were seeing me play as my character. I think I was playing as the knight. No, actually, sorry, take that back. I changed into the wizard, and after level 10, you get a new like suit color or whatever. And then they saw that and like, ooh, I get a new dress basically if I level this up. So I got them on board, and we were all playing around and getting the game levels up, and then eventually the game crashed. Hearts broke. Tried to soothe the wounds to get them to just say, hey, you know, it's a learning experience. We'll get back into this. We'll be sure to save this time. And so we got to that, and then got to the point where we was getting close to level 10. Someone died. Won't say who, but was very sad because they were so close, and then saw their sister got the new dress and they didn't, and then it was literally okay. We got to put that on put that on hold for now. So that's to be continued. After that, it was for me to just get something else gaming wise. I ran across a game by the name of Resident Evil Gaiden, which was kind of funny. This one itself was like playing like on an RPG, but I was finding it to be sort of like a slots game as well, because when you're playing this game, you're going through each of the individual levels, you're running across zombies. There is like a dial that's going left and right, and you got to hit the button just right, timing it. And if you land it in the center of where the zombie is, you do the high-end damage. And then if you keep doing that, you can basically take them out. And it's funny because you can literally kill these zombies with knives alone. And I was actually enjoying it, so I wouldn't have to worry about ammunition or any of that stuff. So I literally ran through basically, if I know, it seems like I'm getting close to the end of the game, that I basically ran through half of it with just a knife. And so I had tons of rounds of my handgun, my shotgun. I had like 70 bullets. Never seen such amount in my life. But I felt so good just running through and just knifing zombies, just clearing the map. But if anybody hasn't seen that game, I recommend you check it out. It's pretty fun. I think it was actually a pretty good game that somebody should actually try once in their time. It's pretty good. But that's pretty much all I did. Let's go ahead and jump into our polls. Very simple poll we had, which was, do you like arcade games? Yes or no? Of course, answer was yes. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, why would you like arcade games?
You might find them
quarters.
You want tickets?
Well, you might find them like pointless or tedious or something like that, because it's like, it's not the, you look for so much more I mean, maybe we should have phrased it to more like in the modern day, right? Because it's like so much more people get like satisfaction out of like earning something in a game rather than it being about a high score. No one gives a shit about a high score anymore, you know? I mean, I like arcade games, but I also like, again, speaking in the modern day, like it's kind of annoying how like most new modern day arcade games are just fucking mobile games put on a giant screen.
I was gonna say, like, we were just at Dave and Buster's, and there was like a giant fruit ninja
and Galaga.
Well, they make you know, the older ones like Galaga and Pac-Man and stuff like that like more interesting for sure. Based on like, because like I could see like, I don't know if you guys saw it. My Dave and Buster's has a giant like 4-player like battle royale Pac-Man essentially, and it's like huge, and everyone has like a giant joystick and stuff. Like they quote unquote update, you know, older arcade games, but I don't know, it's not the same. And plus that's also meant to be played with like a bunch of people, and it's just like weirdly enough at our arcade, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to fucking play with you people. I want to play with my friends.
I don't play with you. I don't play with a 4-year-old. Get out of here.
Pretty much. It's like, what are you doing here, kid? Get out of here.
And you are?
Yeah. It's like, excuse me? I thought this was my arcade? Why are you in my space?
Yeah, making a fight with a kid. Push him.
I mean, because it's funny, too, because I remember one of the times I was at a Dave and... I mean, and that's another thing, too, right? There's, like, no mom and dad fucking arcades anymore. It's like, what are you going to? It's either, if you're an adult, you go to Dave and Buster's. If you're a kid, you go to fucking Chuck E. Cheese. That's your arcades nowadays, outside of like very few exceptions, you know. That's part of the problem, is lack of accessibility, and it's just Dave and Buster's. And Dave and Buster's also, I feel like, monetizes too much on the arcade games with the fucking tickets and shit. I'm off topic of what I originally want to say, because like going back to the whole mobile games are basically just arcade games now, is the whole like last time I was at an arcade, or not last time, but the one time when I was a child, I wanted to get tickets, and I got stuck on this game called Infinity Blade, which is basically just a giant touchscrine.
I remember that.
And at the time, I didn't know that it was a arcade game, or a mobile game, I mean. But I was like, oh, this is super cool. And I sat there like the entire time and just played that like the entire time. And then when I found out later when I got home that it was actually a mobile game. And I was just like, it kind of actually ruined my experience a bit, because I was having fun with it, but I was like, oh man, this isn't just like an arcade game. I just play this on my phone. Could have done that for free. Like,
That's just shoveling quarters into that one.
Right?
DDR. Holding those handrails.
Literally all Angie played when we were over there at Dave and Buster's, just Dance Dance Revolution. There were 2 different ones, and she was circling back to back to each of them. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, she likes those.
Yeah.
And like between like the 2 arcade machines that she was using, Corey and I were just like trying to get like stuffed animals from the machine, and then I got frustrated that I couldn't get my freaking Pickle Rick from the back.
I did pretty good.
Yeah, you got like 2 narwhals and then 1 dolphin,
and like a juice can or whatever it was called, some stuffed like energy drink thing. I don't know. I got 2 stuffed animals in one grab, and
nice.
Like, I don't know why we were.
I bet they're like shoved in the corner in a closet somewhere now, aren't they?
Well, I gave them to Angie.
And my statement stands.
Probably, yeah, they're on the table. But I mean, I don't know. It was just like because it's like, well, I kind of grabbed it. And I understand how claw machines work, and I couldn't. But it was funny because people would watch us and wait for us to leave, and then as soon as we like walked away, they would end up putting like all their points in trying to get stuff, and so that corner was pretty popular. But like aside from the claw machines,
the big claw machine, man, I don't want to toot my whistle.
Well, I was just thinking about that, like the giant ones, like the oversized. Like, has anyone actually won this machine?
Yes,
Yes,
I was going to say I don't want to toot my whistle, but I actually, out of any claw machine that I've done in my life, I had a success of getting it 2 times in a row. I got a fucking frog, and then I got a hippopotamus for my daughters. And right after the people saw it, there was literally a fucking line of like 30 people, like, let's go. And I think they fucking made tons of money that day because nobody was getting shit. But for some reason, I got 2 in a row, and people were just like, it was a gambling problem at that point. They might as well just say that they were fucking Las Vegas just gambling away. It was so funny.
Whereas like some of those giant claw machines, like, oh, win an Xbox, win a PlayStation, it's like that looks like actual bullshit.
Yeah, I got that too. I'm just kidding.
There's no way.
Yeah, I was winning everything.
Well, yeah, the actual bullshit ones that are like the fucking like we try and grab jewelry or shit, and like our claw machines like that are like super popular in Japan. Like they have like tons of plushies and like actual good plushies like Pokemon and shit, not just like random ass frog number 16 for 10 cents they ordered from China, but they also have like anime figures and shit. And I don't know if you guys ever seen like a Japanese claw machine. They get really fucking deviously creative with how you're supposed to do the claw machine. It's not just like grab thing, put thing in hole, but it's just like there's so many different like gimmicky claw machines they have over there. And I'm just saying, we had that shit there, and I could win some anime figures from a fucking claw machine. I'd be probably playing them way more often.
Don't they have like a service where you can win things from those machines remotely from
yes, because you can control it from like your phone or the computer. I don't know what the service is called. There's probably more than one of them. I know one of the sites that I use, I think they sell credits for that, but I never actually trusted that because I'm like, I'm not controlling this from a phone, nor do I trust you to send it to me if I actually do win something. But yeah, but it's just, I don't know, it's just funny to me. It's also kind of funny how technically it's not a video game, but it's a claw machines are fucking premier arcade game. Don't give you tickets, but they give you useless stuffed animals that you can fill your house with and never look at again.
Yeah, I've won quite a few of those. I'm looking at 3 right now right on my desk. It's a Creeper, a Luigi, and that same Pickle Rick I was trying to get. That I only got because Corey got that dolphin out of my way.
You got the dolphin out of your way. It's all about strategy, right? People get so serious about the fucking claw machine. You have a friend, you're like, oh, the other side. It's like, do I need to leak a little bit more? It's like, and even when you're by yourself, you're like shifting back and forth between either sides, trying to triangulate your position on it.
Yeah, it's weird because that claw machine would just like go like it would literally pretty much just go so far down that that the claw just lays on all the plushies and then grabs it. It's kind of weird, but I guess it's trying to reach the bottom. But like the most intriguing and most entertaining game in that entire arcade that me and Corey played was probably the arcade version of the Sonic and Mario Olympics.
Yeah, that one was really fun.
Yeah,
it's just like a mixture of like button mashing and I guess like DDR-ish stuff because you have to run in place.
Yeah, but it's weird when you look at it, but then when you actually start playing, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. And then when you get to the last level, you have to fight But Corey, you played it twice. Once with me, and then once with Anji, and then we all lost against the third challenger, which was Mario for us, and then Peach for you and Angie. Yeah. Friggin' like the last quarter of the track race, she just starts floating around all the way to the end. It's like there's literally nothing you can do. we didn't get past that. It was pretty funny to see it.
Oh, that was, I mean, in the inverse of talking about how mobile games were infecting arcades. In fact, I prefer when they take modern IPs and like remake them into arcade games like Mario Kart, because I know my Dave & Buster's had that. They had like a section of 4 like Mario Kart ones where you sit in the chair and you have the fucking actual wheel and stuff. I mean, that's like half the point of like playing an arcade game, right? Is for like the quote unquote experience, because it's like you're in a whole chair and the wheel with the pedal and stuff. Like you got the whole 9 yards going for you to get really quote unquote immersed in the game, basically. I really like that, and they also added. I know we went to this Dave & Buster's specifically because they had the they recently made a Halo on rail shooter. I forget what it's called actually, but like what the actual name of it was. But that was really fun.
Halo Raven.
That's a huge machine too.
Yeah, it's huge. But we liked it. I mean, we beat the entire game because that was the whole point of us going to the arcade that day, was to beat the entire thing. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it's still an on-rail shooter, so of course the game is going to dick you out of lives by just being like, lol. It's like, here you go. We're just going to fucking throw, here's something you couldn't possibly dodge unless you're a fucking Jedi or something, and you saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah, I saw the Tomb Raider one as well, but I played Alien. And then me and Edwin played, I think, the newest House of the Dead.
That's a staple arcade game, is the House of the Dead, because that only exists outside of a few small exceptions. It began and is primarily remembered as an arcade game. We're not going to talk about Typing of the Dead.
We did the Luigi's Mansion.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's another thing. They turned Luigi's Mansion into an arcade game. Yeah, it's a crazy concept.
Yeah, but that House of the Dead looked a lot like Resident Evil.
I mean, it was clearly just like, we want to make Resident Evil, but we want to like.
But they have a light gun. I think there's a light gun version for Dreamcast. Like having a light gun at home was so cool when you had some of the games. I know the Wii had a lot of them that were arcade versions. I don't even know who makes these arcade games, because that's another thing where it's like, who are these developers? I think it would be really fun to just like work on these like one-off arcade machines, but. The Luigi's Mansion one is like really neat for what it is. And then we played the like big ass Centipede game. It was like I didn't
even know they upgraded a Centipede game.
Yeah, because there was that one, there was like a Galaga one, and then that giant Battle Royale Pac-Man. But we were running low on credits because it was getting towards the end of the day, and we were throwing all of our money into the claw machine. But we played that Centipede game, and it's pretty cool. Except for it has that like super cheese boss at the end where it's like you got one chance to beat the spider, or you start the whole thing over again.
One shot.
And it has like a million HP kind of nonsense, and it's fast as shit. And you're like, oh, this is the part where I put my card back in to keep playing.
The fidget spinner game? I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm surprised there isn't one.
There's a fidget spinner game. It's a giant fidget spinner. You just fucking spin, and it does that like spinning Wheel of Fortune bullshit.
Are you fucking with me? Or?
No, I'm 100% telling you the truth. That's at my Dave & Buster's. I mean, that's the funny thing. It's a giant fidget spinner. You fucking spin it, and it spins for a while, and then it lands on something. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, that's fucking hilarious.
That thing is huge. That is a weird machine. Okay, it is a ticket machine thing. Well, we were playing something like that. I was spinning like a giant Wheel of Fortune thing, and I was getting the most tickets on that thing. And then there was like a cornhole one.
And I don't know if you guys happened to play this as a kid, but at mine at least for the Dave & Buster's, I think it's called Rubik's with like a CX or some shit. It was basically you put in the pieces to match the shapes and you had to hurry up and do it before the pieces would pop out. You had to turn the dial and they'd start counting, and you had to hurry up and put them in place. If not, then they shoot out and then you lose.
Wasn't that Perfection or something? Like
I don't know. I'm just saying shit. It sounded kind of. So maybe it is that, but I just know there is a giant version of that. But it's a touch screen kind of deal where you're just like trying to hurry up and put the piece that you get on the screen. And you're putting it in. It's a giant screen of that. So it's like, yeah, they're remaking games that you're like, did they really need to do that? I don't think they needed to, but whatever. Fidget spinner better.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on the fact that there's a fidget spinner arcade game. Like, what the actual hell?
I've seen a Doodle Jump one.
Well, I was just about to say that. I'm like, I can accept mobile games, but a fidget spinner? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, Crossy Road. There was what's that game? Flappy Bird. There was like a Flappy Bird one for tickets.
Yeah.
True. If you still have that you have a lot, you're gonna get like it's worth a lot of money. Is that true? Was that just like made up shit?
No, it's really just made up shit.
Well, what do you mean? Like
if you still have it on your like phone, because I guess I heard about a while like a long time ago. It was like a rumor. I don't know if that's true. Like it's worth a lot of money if you still have that on your phone.
Technically speaking, you can't get it. So if you have it on your phone and you don't delete it, you can't get it again. So there's like a limited rarity, but I don't know what the actual demand for it is.
So that's really funny because I did look this up when it happened. So there were two things. It was PT on the PS4 and then Flappy Bird on the phone. So eBay was flooded with those two things, and then eBay got super pissed about how stupid it was that it removed all the listings for them and then rejected any more listings of that type. So it was really funny. I was
Good job, eBay.
It got so flooded that it's like, we're not doing this. And then just rejected all of them.
Go outside, touch grass.
Yeah, that costs less quarters.
But it's also kind of funny. It's just like, it's a mobile game, and they put it in arcade, and the whole point is that you're typically playing it, on your phone for free. But it's like, what if you paid money instead, though? It's like, doesn't that sound better? We think that sounds better.
Well, you got this old iPhone.
Well, there is a couple of games, if I recall. They're not really games. I take that back. Actually, it's like if you're wanting to do those. I have little girls, so understand this, that you want to be in this giant space that you can take pictures of yourself and have pretty backgrounds. It costs real dollars. There is no fucking tickets or coins. It's dollars. So, yeah, you end up throwing a little bit at it because if you're really photogenic and you love to take pictures, then you end up running through quick on your, I guess, amount that you had when you originally came there and said, I'm going to have maybe a couple dollars to spend. You're basically fucking empty when you leave because of that fucking picture. I wanted to remove that shit, but as soon as you walk in, it's the first thing you see, and they all just fucking magnet right there. And then I'm like, shit, here it comes.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't know what that's like. In fact, I look at those stupid photo booths, and I'm just like, who the fuck pays for that?
Yep, kids with daughters or kids that just like to take photos of themselves. That's the hitter right there.
It's like the last one that we played was that. Is that the one you kept calling the Centipede one, or was it the Galaga that you were talking?
No, that was the Centipede. Yeah, it was like Mega Centipede or whatever, or some DX insert like weird
Centipede
letter here.
DX.
It was just this giant ass screen.
Yeah, it's like one of those Minecraft like dungeon crawler size ones.
Oh yeah, we played that too. That one's at least interesting because that's like an evolution of the old school beat 'em ups you'd used to play in arcade games. Because obviously Simpsons, fucking Turtles, and I don't know if it was Turtles in Time, but I know there was a Ninja Turtle one that was an arcade game.
It was Ninja Turtles, X-Men, and
Simpsons.
Simpsons. Those were like the big beat 'em ups of the time. That X-Men one was like very.
That was dope.
The full presence of that one was so cool, and I think it was like 8 players or something like that. It was really dope.
Yeah.
And then the Gauntlet machines obviously are really cool.
Damn it! You said it before I was going to. I was like, my favorite arcade game's Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I don't know if it was actually called Dark Legacy at that point. It was probably just called Gauntlet Legends or something like that. But that was my favorite. Now I hardly ever see that machine in any arcade anymore.
Yeah, my favorite arcade machine is Hydro Thunder.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. The fucking crazy
really
boats with the guns and shit, and you just fucking. I feel like I'm never in actually control of the vehicle. I'm just slamming the steering wheel left and right as far as it'll go, trying to go in a straight line.
I mean, as much as I like the gun ones, like they just get put through so much like stress from like little kids slamming them into shit. The machines that tend to be like better or in better condition are usually like Afterburner, like Outrun, or the like Pod Racer or whatever. Like those ones are pretty fun. Like I always like the racing ones. They have what is it at Well Played, the place down the street or whatever. They have the Initial D, which is really cool too because it has that you know how Minecraft has the cards that you can get items and stuff.
Yeah.
Initial D has like stat tracking, so you can save like your account onto a card, and then like it'll keep your car build. So like if you were to play it at a different arcade, then you could bring your car with you to like race other people. It's like that's
now,
really cool.
Is that one of the machines they had that's like a Japanese machine? Like, where's it
Yeah.
in English? All right, so yeah, that's a weird thing about the Japanese, right? Among other things, but the Japanese like fucking yeah, they are really into their arcade games because like. They have a thing. There's a thing in the Fate community, specifically the Grand Order. They have Fate Grand Order, or the arcade virtual reality thing. It's kind of like it's basically Fate Grand Order, except if it was a fighting game and you fight other people. I don't know a lot about it, so if I'm spouting nonsense to people who know what they're talking about, I'm sorry. But all I know is that Fate Grand Order exists as an arcade game, and I think it's a fighter, and they get exclusive content that we don't sometimes. They keep the two games separate, and it's just like we all raise our fists in the air every time they get a character that we don't have, and it's like, I will never forgive fucking Fate Grand Order Arcade. But my point being is that the Japanese do that a lot, where because Fate Grand Order Arcade, I don't know how they do it. I think they do it in a similar system. You have like a card or something, but like you make an account more or less, and like you collect servants like you would in the regular Grand Order, but you're doing it in an arcade format, and it's just like a way to save your data and just like go back to any machine you want and continue playing, like expanding your account and stuff. I think they have like a lot of those where you can just like go back and play them with like it's almost making again gotcha games, but for arcade. I don't know, it's strange, but I feel like they do that a lot where you could like have like a profile that you take with you into like similar arcade games that you can just do whatever you want with, as opposed to just every time you play it, it's a new session.
They got some pretty wild arcades over there. I mean, like I remember going through one and seeing like there's an entire section for claw machines.
Like, well, I mean, that's what I was saying. They love their fucking claw machines. They love their claw machines.
Yeah, and it was cool. They have like a fighting game section. Like fighting games are pretty big. There was this one game that was over there that was like it was kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh, but it wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh, and obviously like I can't read Japanese or anything, but the way that the game worked was like it was a card field. And there was a guy playing against the computer, so it's like kind of like a pinball machine layout where the back wall is like the screen of like the guy you're competing against, and he was like placing his cards on the field and it was scanning them with a camera, and I was like, that's really freaking awesome. Like, yeah. I know that PlayStation 3 tried something like that with Eye of Judgment, but like that's just not there. I mean, we could probably do something like that now better, but like if the lighting was off in any way, the game was like, oh, don't know, I can't see it. And then it's like, it would just like glitch out all the time. So
yeah,
like I understand that stems from that kind of arcade game over there, but like it's so hard to have that like experience in your house. So it's cool, like very inventive for a machine. Cause you're typically going to see like Galaga, Donkey Kong, and that kind of stuff. But like, I like seeing really innovative arcade games, like the Beat Saber setups and stuff like that. Even though I don't typically go play them, but they're just kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it gets crazier and crazier because I like it's Halo, but I really enjoyed the Halo arcade game. That was pretty good. Because one of my if we're not talking about ticket machines and I'm just playing to play games, I do generally like really enjoy on-rail shooters. And I was actually going to say the inverse when you were talking about it earlier, but as I think Time Splitters started as an arcade game and they brought that experience to consoles at some point way back in the day. They brought Time Crisis. That's what it is.
Yeah, I was like,
Time Splitters is really cool. They used to sell that game packaged with a light gun if you wanted it on PlayStation.
But I mean, because it's like, I mean, when I go to an arcade and it's like my usual go-to is like, I really like the, well, they actually, weirdly enough, there's a lot of on-rail shooters of both the Alien franchise and Terminator for some reason. Like they have like a abnormally large amount of them for some reason, but I love all of them. And every time I see fucking, House of the Dead, I'm going for it. I love House of the Dead. I love how fucking cheesy it is. It's just so, voice acting's terrible. Everything's stupid, but it's just, I don't know. I love it. It's that arcade experience, quote unquote, of holding that big ass light gun in your hand and having to like either slam the clip or hit the button to throw grenades or reload and shit. It's just so much more interactive than using, just a standard ass controller, obviously. But that's kind of the point. That's why you go to an arcade, is to have like a more, quote unquote, immersive experience, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, we saw like a really it was more obscure to me because it's just like out of nowhere. That other game that we played besides House of the Dead that also used the light gun was Elevator Action, but it was like it was just a shooter, and it's just two people.
That was a NES game.
Yeah, it was. That's the first time I heard of it, but it was like, it was 3D. It was very bright and colorful, but it's just like you're going down an elevator and then to each floor, but every time you go down, it would play elevator music, and then when the doors open, you just start shooting everyone.
Yeah,
it was like fighting like the SWAT, like evil like SWAT members and stuff like that. But it was like this is not what I expected, especially from the name. It was like, I have no idea what the original game plays like, but I'm pretty sure it's not this.
Not this.
Yeah, but it was literally like...
I'm pretty sure Elevator Action was like a NES game. I just know the name is a thing. I don't actually know what the gameplay even looks like. That name is recognizable to me.
Mm-hmm. I just found it interesting. It was like, hey, Corey, let's play this.
I know that my favorite traditional, well, especially if I'm trying to go for fucking tickets, I love coin pushers. I don't know why. That's something I discovered in my adult years. Because as a kid, I looked at those things. I was like, "What the fuck? It looks so boring." But then as an adult, it's just like all about strategy. It's just like, where can I put this fucking cord and make all this shit fall off the edge?
I wasn't going for tickets. Literally, the only reason I was going for tickets is because I wanted like a $300 ticket like push pop. So I was like, I'm just going to go for that. I'm going to aim low. And then everyone else was like, I want all the tickets. But it's like, those coin pushers is just like, it's kind of scummy in a way, but it was like the only time that I was actually intrigued on playing it was when, during the cruise for Corey's wedding, where it's just like, we could probably cheese this if you time it by the tides and the ship going side to side.
Just sitting there staring at it like, come on.
I mean, there was definitely a family that was super into it because there was like 5 of them surrounded in this one corner of the machine because it was just like a whole circle of that same game, and then there were like 5 family members just playing the whole, like, for 2 hours, probably more if we paid attention to them more, but. It was just funny to see them because they always cheered every time they got a bunch of money. So it was kind of funny because it was like a tower of quarters and like maybe 3 of them per machine. So it was just like you can probably get like maybe $50 worth of quarters or something like that.
That kind of almost reminds me of when me and Corey went down to Florida a long time ago. And we were like on this Aladdin thing, like this arcade deal.
Yeah,
and the lady didn't
Disney Quest.
And she saw the giant lion head, thing from that movie. You go inside its mouth,
tiger,
and she said,
tiger.
"There's that rhino again." I was like,
oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely like a core memory. We're standing in line at this like arcade, and this lady's with her kids, and she's like yelling, "That's that rhino!" I was like, there is 0 rhinos in this movie. I don't. It was so funny though because the guy in front of us turned around. He's like, "I don't think she knows what it is."
I don't think she knows what a rhino is.
Yeah. To be fair, there's not a lot left. But
soon will all be her.
Yeah, Disney Quest. That place was pretty dope. Like it used to be. I mean, I remember going there when I got to college and. We took like a trip with some friends out there, and I was sick as hell. But
it was on all games.
No, I was like, I literally was like running a fever and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I planned this, I have to go. This is way before COVID, so calm down. The but like playing like Moon Patrol, they have that. There's like a floor there that was like all just classic Atari games and stuff like that. So that was really
That'd be
cool. You
nice.
play like Mr. Roboto and Tron. The game's freaking hard as shit, and all of those. And then they have like these VR games that are kind of fun. But like one of the most fun like arcade experiences I've done is there was like a big room and they set you up with like the HTC Vibe stuff, and then you get to like do a level, like you're walking around and carrying the gun, and it was really like super immersive. Like rather than just standing in place with like a VR headset and like looking around, like you're actually walking through the level, and it was really cool. I also got to do that for Halo. They did like a Halo Team Deathmatch one, and that was it takes that light gun experience and just amps it up completely, because you're actually like able to peek around a corner and like the zombies are coming after you, and you actually can run away from them instead of just like, oh crap, he's gonna pop up on the screen and hit it. Like it was so cool, and I would recommend everybody try that. Of course, unless you get like bad vertigo, because if you're standing on a building top or whatever and you're like, oh shit.
Question: would we count laser tag as an arcade game, or is that not?
I mean,
because I find them in arcades. Well, at least back in the day, we did.
I would. I mean, I would say that because it's part of the arcade experience. If we want to just like kind of broaden it up to that in general, because there isn't really a lot of arcades that people can go to. Dave & Buster's is the most popular, but like when we were growing up in Alaska and we didn't have
Qzar, Ultrazone.
Yeah, we had Qzar and
Space
Ultrazone,
Station.
and then
Space Station wasn't the same, right? That didn't have that in there, but yeah.
Well, Space Station was pretty poppin', and then people kept getting shot outside, so they closed it.
They wanted a real experience.
Jesus Christ! I took a hard left turn.
Yeah,
I've been practicing here this whole time. Now I'm gonna test my skills out on you.
It's like, I got the high score, 25 years to life. But because that was where I remember seeing the X-Men machine and stuff, was at Space Station, and it was like, why can't we go there anymore? Like I didn't understand. And then it's like, because I was a little kid, and it's like, oh, okay, that's
everyone's dead. That's why.
Makes a lot more sense. But like going to Ultrazone was fun because there's like the arcade games and everything, and then you're like waiting for your turn to play laser tag, which like when you're 14, that's like the coolest thing in the world.
No,
or at least it was.
No, I have a terrible experience. The last time I went to Qzar, it was some fucking douche just like saying because the issue I was having is just like I kept switching out like the vest and gun because none of that shit was working, because just like
yeah, the maintenance for that stuff is pretty rough.
Yeah, and then this fucktard, this adult, it was like, and this kid's playground is just like covering up his vest so you can't shoot him, and he was constantly shooting me. And then so I like trying to move his gun and shit, and then he's like threatening me that he'll report me or some shit. I was like, fuck you. I was like, if I ever see you again, I'm kicking your ass. And I'll remind you why. I was like, that was the last time I played laser tag, and it's just like, ever since that, I was like, I don't want to deal with this shit anymore, because I'm just gonna have a similar experience. Like not because of, like the dick, but because like all that shit just like hardly worked, and I'm pretty sure most of the time that's what most of those laser tags like maintain their stuff. But it was also that VR thing at the at Dave & Buster's. Corey didn't join in, but it's just like the VR thing. It took so long to set up. We were waiting for like 45 minutes.
Holy crap!
And then, yeah, but it's just, I don't think they intended like it to be used that day or something, because like it wasn't even running. It was hardly even showing like the preview of what you would be playing. So it was like we waited for like 45 minutes for them to set it up and like replace some parts because some things weren't working. And then it was $5 per person, but that whole experience was so rushed. It was like $5 was pretty much $1 per minute. It was like that whole thing took like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But it was pretty boring. It was very simplistic. I don't even know what my score was, because our scores weren't tied to the chair that we were sitting in. I think my score was like all the way to the left, and I was on the very right. So like by the end of it, it ended so quickly that I didn't even get to see like who had the high score. So it's just like that was a terrible.
They just
thing.
shut it off. Get out.
Yeah.
And
the true Zelda Ocarina time ending. You're done. Get out. We're done.
But that was like, but the one that Corey said, like that large room with the VR, that one was actually cool. But it's like that I've only ever done that one, so I still have. I'm very skeptic about VR and laser tag shit.
I haven't done laser tag in a dog's age. I think last time I even touched a laser tag arena was when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I barely remember it. I was gonna say,
like, after they closed Ultrazone down, like they had this like cool one because they're trying to like brand it like as like Dark Zone. There was different game modes. Stuff. And you could have like, if you had like a different account, you could have like stealth mode so that your lights weren't on, so people couldn't see you and stuff like that. And like Infiltrator or whatever, so your lights would change so it looks like you're on a different team. Like it was kind of innovative, but I mean at the end of the day it was still laser tag. And like the people that were playing laser tag was like, I'm there because it's my birthday, and then there's like the 40-year-old guy who's like, this is the closest thing I got to war. And it was funny because like I remember like it was because what was it, the Sentinel thing that's in the middle and it looks like a freaking T-1000 or whatever, and then I was like running in there and I tripped and like threw my gun. Basically my entire like outfit exploded. Like my battery came out, the gun came off the cord and stuff, and I was laying on the ground, and that 40-year-old dude ran over and he's like, I got you, man, and he like kneeled with me and was like, Game Master, and like shooting people walking by. I was like, what is going on right now? I feel like this man's like Saving Private Ryan.
PTSD.
I just need another suit.
He's losing his mind over a virtual game. Yeah. Jesus.
He needs a med kit.
Yeah, this is the hardcore Wednesday evening.
We dine in hell.
But I mean, like those were kind of fun. But like now that David Buster's exists, like or other arcades that have gone to what is it, like Game Time and stuff like that, they tend to have like I don't know, bowling alleys attached to them now instead, or something like that.
It's weird because like with the ones that are attached with bowling alleys, it's like you pay a pass to like get in, but there's like the bowling alley is like always like purchased separately. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
At least in my area, the bowling alley is always full of people. Just always. I'm like, what the hell you guys doing?
Well, I mean, usually the people are usually it's primarily a bowling alley with a small arcade tacked onto it. Yeah. Typically.
Yeah, there's like there's some big ones around here. Like, I'm thinking of the one I went to in Florida, and I think it was called Game Time or something like that. It was like in Ybor. Like that one was kind of fun, but it was like like an off-brand David Buster's, like an open bar. They got arcades. Like after a certain time, it's like 21 and up crowd. So like it's it's less.
I don't know when that time is for fucking Dave and Buster's. I remember when I was at Dave and Buster's, they just had waitresses walking around the game area with like giant Jello shot things.
Yeah, well, that's what I was. I had to ask them when we were just there because we were there at like 3 in the afternoon, and I'm like, "Am I allowed to bring my drink out there?" And they're like, "Yeah, just whatever." I'm like, "Okay," because there's like kids around. It's
that's what weird. Yeah, it's really weird. It was just like,
but I know that David Buster's in the Diamond Center Mall or whatever, like at 10 o'clock, they're like, if you're under 21, get the hell out. And it's like, okay, all right.
I can, will, and shall.
It's time to Buster.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, do the ticket prices change too? Which was really funny because when we were there, I noticed that it's like, we're sitting here trying to get like stuffed animals or like a Switch case for like 11,000 tickets or whatever. And then I turn around and you could literally get like a burger meal for like 2,500 tickets or something. And I'm like, dang, I should have did that. I could have just got food playing the freaking spinning wheel like game. Just like, okay, I'll get a burger and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah, but the amount that was paid for like each of us was like $55 for like the amount of, I don't know, what do they call it? They call it like credits.
Yeah, I guess if I just walked in and bought a $19 cheeseburger, then it'd be like, there, I did it. I saved money.
Yeah, It's just like the trick. He was like, "Oh, you spent like $50 to buy this $20 burger."
Yeah,
Essentially.
it kind of sucks. Like movie theaters used to have like arcades that were really cool in them too, and now it's just like one sad game in a corner.
That's broken.
Yeah, it's like this game doesn't work, and we have the stack it or whatever, the stacking blocks game for a prize.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, there's no like arcade section anymore. Because I remember, I think Century Theaters had like an arcade section that was pretty cool. Totem used to have an arcade section that was pretty well at the time. It was cool, but I was also like 12, and they had like they still had pinball machines and stuff in there, and some game called like Police Trainer, which was really fun. It was just like a target game. It wasn't. You didn't really do anything. It was like a VR target, not VR in a headset way, but like everything was just like Polygon Fighter and Smash Brothers, and it was like just targets that would jump across the screen, and your accuracy, if you got enough points, you could move on to the next round, and that one was pretty fun.
Well, I don't know how it applies to other states, but like in Alaska, at least back then, like late 90s, right when that time was, that's when Chuck E. Cheese was the shit. Like literally the up floor level, that was all a grown up section, and then below was all kiddie stuff. That's when we had all those beat 'em up games, and that was like where you spend most of your time. Even adults were up there because it was just those were the games of the day. It was just like constantly playing X-Men or Simpsons and shit. It was a lot of fun.
Well, they also had pitchers of beer at Chuck E. Cheese at the time too.
Get drunk.
They had to stop serving that because of like parents fighting in the parking lot kind of thing. But like having beer at Chuck E. Cheese was probably like the most 90s thing.
I will say this: at least Dave and Buster's food is pretty decent compared to shitty ass Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Cheese pizza, yeah, that kind of nonsense.
Aren't there like 3 episodes related to arcade? To like arcade places and laser tag and Always Sunny. It's
not
like
sure.
It's like there was a whole episode that literally just took place in this one spot in a laser tag arena, and then there was like I think it was like a 2-parter for like Chuck E. Cheese. Like a Chuck E. Cheese restaurant where it's like it was before it was like all that beer and like questionable animatronics, and then they modernized it, and then they were super pissed about it. They tried to get the old animatronics, and then they pretty much ended up burning up the whole thing because they rewired everything and tried to bring back the broken and non-manageable animatronics. So it's like, there's like, hey, all adults who remember what this fake Chuck E. Cheese used to be like, come over to this under construction area. And then everyone got hurt because the whole place burned down because of them.
Nice.
It was just funny.
Nice. I actually was at Chuck E. Cheese like last year. Me having fun. It was somebody's birthday, and we were there, and I was just like, "Where is all the animatronics?" It's literally just a giant LCD screen where they used to be at. So it's like none of that stuff even exists anymore. It just looks so plain. I was like, "God, poor kids. They don't have a fucking fun experience."
All terrified that Five Nights is going to happen.
Yeah. I really want to know if that has anything to do with that. If that actually has like real consequences, the fact that Five Nights exists, whether or not to take out the animatronics, all the kids are scared of them now.
Well, now I just want to search it. Hang on.
I doubt it. It's probably just because they were getting old, and I'm sure maintaining those things aren't cheap. And they probably weren't bringing in the money.
Looking, especially the old one. But God, they're
it's on the suggested search.
The arcade experiences have like changed so drastically, because even like looking around the David Buster's when we were there, most of it was ticket machines.
Tickets are fun. Granted, I sometimes I look at the fucking like the prizes for tickets, and I look at the ones that are like 100 bajillion tickets. I'm just like, has anyone ever gotten that?
There was literally a kid who was like, "Oh my god, I could get an Xbox," and then his mom's like, "I could buy you one for cheaper." And
yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
Unless you're like some kind of like fucking god, like you're gonna just end up spending less money just buying whatever object it is, Yeah.
No, but it's weird though, because it's like, I I would like to see, more gun games and all this other stuff, but it's like it's literally 80% ticket games, and most of them are either not working correctly or they're just dated. And like they have a beer pong one that I thought was kind of funny, which I'm like, oh, okay, this is literally just freaking beer pong. And then they had like an axe throwing one that was really shitty.
I mean, like I said, one of my favorite ticket machines is the fucking. I was making mad ticket bank at that Infinity Blade one when I was doing it, but I also just like the ones where you have to press the blue buttons. It's the most basic shit in the world, where you just hit all the buttons all around you. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, there's what was it? There was a Kung Fu Panda one.
Kind of similar, yeah, but I'm actually pretty good at that one too. I like that one.
Everyone was playing that one where you
just a wall of blue buttons
it or whatever.
Yeah, the wall of blue buttons. Yeah.
So apparently, the only. Sorry, you can go. I just read up on a small article about it. The Chuck E. Cheese thing.
Well, it's just like I typically just, like I said, I just like playing like immersive games like the on-rail shooter and stuff like that. Especially the on-rail shooters that you go into like a booth for, so you have like the surround sound and shit. I feel like ticket machines are pretty fun because it's just like, especially for the ones you feel like you're good at, because you're just like, how much can I fucking squeeze out of this one this time?
Yeah.
And you'll sit there and play the same fucking game over and over again, just trying to see how many tickets you can get. Even though at the end of it, you're like, wow, look at all these tickets, and you look at what you can redeem them for, and you're like, oh wow, I can get like a Mountain Dew, I guess.
Yeah, they fucking inflation, man. Inflation got those Tootsie Rolls at like $100 a pop now.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, man,
damn. Like, what the hell's going on? I was playing the cornhole. God, such a weird ass name, but like it was like a spinning target, and you throw the beanbags into it. I was destroying that one, and I know Edwin saw me playing it. I was hitting the 300 like back to back to back, and I only won 40 tickets. And then I go over to this stupid spin the wheel thing, and it was like 150, 150, 100. I was like, I should just sit here and do this, because at least I can just spin a wheel and wait. And it's already a better ticket like output.
Or you could
than
spin
me
a fidget
actually
spinner.
Trying. Yeah, I could just spin a fidget spinner. God.
I'm still baffled that exists as an arcade game.
Like I like I mean I prefer the like driving ones, and I like if I'm not playing those, like I like the gun con or the light gun games, but the bullet hell games are also like really fun. Like I love playing that 1942 game or whatever, where you're a little airplane. It's just you get a power up and you're just firing 10,000 things at the top of the screen. Like those are always really fun to play.
I like the motorcycle one, but I'm afraid to get on one now because I think if I tip it over, it's going to fucking break it, and then I'm going to fucking eat shit. I don't want to do that. So I'm like, that looks cool from afar.
Like, I know how much I weigh. I'm going to destroy this thing.
I really did like the one that we played at that Well Played Corey, that you, me, and Travis played, that tank one or whatever the fuck it was. That was really fun.
Tank. Yeah.
I love that game.
There's a Wii version of that or something, or is like
Wii U.
Yeah, Wii U, of course. The yeah, but that one was fun. I like that place because it is like basically all just games to play and not tickets. So they have.
Well, I mean, it's mainly a game store. The fact that it has little arcade games is just a bonus.
Yeah, because they got. I think there's like one Ninja Turtles pinball game, but then they had a couple of those multi-unit like SNK cabinets that just have like 100 games on it that are mostly fighting games and bullet hell games. And then the Initial D racing ones. They got that Minecraft one that I was like, oh, this thing's kind of neat. And then a very old NBA Jam. It's because it's a retro game store. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the original NBA Jam cabinet, because the screen is like fucking old.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for everybody. So, what do you think is what's keeping these arcades still alive to this day? What do you think is making it to where they're not, shutting down, and because of everything is, in housing, is there anything that you guys know that possibly is the reason why they're still, doing well today?
I mean, I would just say it's like a place for parents to just dump all their kids for like birthdays and stuff. But like, you don't really find standalone arcades. They're usually just big chains like Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's now, because standalone arcades are, I mean, Well Played isn't even a standalone arcade. I would almost argue that most of their money comes from selling like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon card stuff and running tournaments, because they're an official tournament store. They just, like Udon was saying, also have arcade games if you're hanging out. and they also have food. So it's like
That's what I was gonna hit on actually, is like when you think about it, a lot of these places, it's like it's usually primarily something else, and then arcade is usually tacked onto it. The closest we keep mentioning Dave and Buster's because that's probably the closest you're gonna get to like an arcade chain that's kind of the whole point is the arcade, but at the same time, it is just a place you just go and eat food and leave, and their food's pretty decent. At least the mine is. The last time I ate there, but like Chuck E. Cheese is when or Jordan was saying Chuck E. Cheese is the real one where you just drop your kids off. It's like, go have fun, leave me alone for 30 minutes. Because it's like, you're not going there for anything else but the arcade. But as an adult, you're not going to have any fun because you're going to be like, hey, kid, get off the Pac-Man machine. It's my turn.
Push.
Yeah. But then you have, we touched on it earlier, but the fucking, the bowling alleys having something like that tacked on, a game store having a little arcade tacked on, a movie theater having a little arcade tacked on. And I think the reason why people still invest in arcade games, and it's more specifically in America. Obviously, it's where we're all from. That's where we're even thinking about why that's a thing, because obviously places like Japan, the arcade scene is thriving. Like it's not even a question whether or not that's going to ever go out of business. But and I think we've said it a few times, but there is a certain experience you get when you do the arcade, because it is different. You have the arcade cabinets that the whole point is like it's huge, bombastic, and you have the big gun, and you're in the racing seat, and it's really fast, colorful, sounds, explosions all over the place. Plus, even though we touched, we said it's like, oh, I'm not here to play with you people. Why are you fucking in my arcade? It's like, I want to be here alone. But it is kind of still like a social thing. There's people around. Everyone's having fun playing video games, even all demographics. Again, just what I experienced at Dave & Buster's. The only weird thing being, obviously, the waitresses walking around with giant Jello shots.
Yeah. The reason why, because the reason why I was asking it specifically was just because me now being the new dad, that was back then was our generation, was everybody was getting still into that whole arcade experience. Now, new kids that are coming in today, it's all iPads, and there's nothing really of interaction besides touching an iPad or going online or something. So it almost feels like to me like the only reason why it still is where it is right now is because of the generation that is the parents now are the ones that were the last ones that I basically was in that time of when arcades were still a big thing.
So before I forget, and it's kind of on topic, but what I read for the Chuck E. Cheese thing, removing the animatronic is not because of Five Nights at Freddy. It specifically stated that it's not because of the horror game, but it's because specifically they're removing the animatronics is because it was filing for bankruptcy at that point, and then they specifically said that it was like, oh, we're going to replace it with a giant flat screen TV because that's what most
probably cheaper.
It said specifically, it was like it's because that's where most of the entertainment comes from, the kids. So that's where they're going to be paying attention, is because it's on a screen.
That's all.
Pretty sad.
Yeah, just dancing.
Well, I mean, I don't know how anyone else feels about it, because I did go to Chuck E. Cheese quite a bit as a child, because it was like the place my babysitter took me whenever I was staying with her. And I love Chuck E. Cheese because that's where I remember playing games like Hydro Thunder. I think that was still back then. That was one of my favorites. But I didn't go to see those fucking creepy ass things. I just want to play the fucking arcade games. I didn't go there for pizza.
Get away, Chucky.
Yeah, it's like fucking creepy ass dude in a suit. Go away. I want to play Pac-Man. Fuck off. I mean, also, I've said it a few times, but I'm pretty sure it's probably a lot cheaper just maintaining a flat screen TV than a fucking robot. Granted, it's not like
I think it is.
True, but granted, I guess it's not like it's fucking intelligent or anything. It just moves around and flaps its mouth and shit, but it's still robotics,
Until they shut down, and then it comes to life.
Yeah.
And
it's in a Nicolas Cage spinoff.
That movie's fucking hilarious.
There's also fucking Disney with their animatronics and friggin' projections and holograms. Yeah.
Well, you have those screens now that are sometimes in Times Square and other big cities. It's 5D, and it looks like the picture's coming off of the screen into the real world. The crazy shit you can just do with a screen nowadays is nutty.
Yeah, those are freaking cool.
Well, it's those animatronics with the projection of their faces, so it's they don't have to make a face on the actual robot. It's just like a projection that makes like a weird face on them. It's really strange. But it is absolutely hilarious when the animatronic works, but the screen is not working and it's just off. So it's just like this blank face, robotic body moving around, or they just shut off the whole thing, but you still hear in the intercom the voices of the characters saying something, but it's just like upright dead essentially. It's funny. It's just funny. But there's like there are like I don't know if you would count them as arcade games, but there is like arcade-like games in Disney World. I know there's like the Buzz Lightyear on-rail shooter, which was pretty cool. Which is also like that giant moving screen.
Oh yeah, was that? Oh, okay, that's probably something else. I'm thinking Orlando, Florida, like that giant actual riding the thing and you're shooting things and the Buzz Lightyear deal. That was fun, but I don't think that's what you're talking about.
I think that's what he's talking about.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
that shit was
fun.
fun.
It's like an actual on-rail shooter. I think that's the ride that inspired that one ability in Kingdom Hearts 3, where you're all on that same.
It is,
ship. Yeah.
There's that Kingdom Hearts 3. That was a big selling point. Is that some of those summons were like all just based on like Disney World rides.
Yeah, but it's like that one was pretty cool because it's those same giant screens that you were talking about earlier on those like moving rides. But the actual seat that you were sitting on was the rail shooter, and then you just move between screens, and then it was just like this tunnel of just visual like shows, and then you just shoot at whatever, and then you get points for whatever you're shooting. I thought that was really cool. But it's like there's like more things like that in Disney World because there's like a lot of things screens is cheaper. I mean the Dave and Buster's thing, the like how it stays alive is like I was looking at like all the advertisements. I was thinking it was like I had something to say earlier. But you were saying like how those arcades are staying alive, but it specifically said that Dave and Buster's is an arcade, a bar, and also a sports bar. But I'm pretty sure half of us that were there didn't even notice a sports bar because it was on the opposite side of the actual bar. So it's pretty funny. That was like
I forgot about that because unfortunately for me, since we're in our state is a little different. Ours is literally just sharing space in a mall. So like basically when you're going on two sides of the Dave and Buster's for the entrance, you walk through and you're passing by the pool table and all that stuff, so you can't ignore it unless you go on the back side where there's literally no one really parks back there. That one you're going to avoid you'll avoid it and you'll go straight to the arcade. But literally the place that everyone usually goes to, you basically have no choice but to see the pool table, the bar, the food and all that stuff on your left-hand side before you even get to the actual game. So I think that was probably how they marked it up. So you'd constantly just be like, "Ooh, I'm hungry. Yeah, let's go get some food." And you just walk right in there.
Yeah, then when you're eating food, they'll rope you in like, hey, if you're eating food and you pay $20 extra, you can play a few games. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'm going to play a fucking Pac-Man for a while or whatever. So
I'll play some fidget spinner.
Yeah, fidget spinner.
I went to a bar in Vegas a while back called Insert Coin, and that was really cool because it was just an arcade bar. Like they had TVs, at the bar, and if you gave them your driver's license, they'll hand you a controller, and you could play like a fighting game against like any of the patrons that are sitting there at the bar too. You can get a booth, and then they'll bring you like a TV and a console that you asked for, so like you could play Mario Kart with your friends and get bottle service or whatever. It was such a like it was such like a weird experience because it was like a place for nerds, and you didn't have to pay money to play the arcade games. You could just walk up and play them because you paid like a $10 cover charge. So all the games are just turned on to play. And like, I think that is kind of an interesting, like, because it's more of an amusement thing, or you're paying at the door. So it's like Disney Quest was like that. It was like $40 or something. And then you go in and just play anything that you want. You don't have to keep putting quarters in. And I think like with David Buster's and Chuck E. Cheese and stuff. I mean, they're doing ticket prizes, and so at those places, if they did have ticket machines, those are the ones that would take real money. But
is Disney Quest still around to this day?
I don't think so.
No,
I think they closed it and turned it into some other thing.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, they closed it and made an ESPN center. So when I looked across to that sports bar on Dave and Buster's, I just looked back. I just thought back to our podcast and in my mind, and I said in a whisper, "Fucking nerds." They took away my Disney Quest.
Yeah,
nerds.
But I mean, like that bar, it was also a bar first, so it had like a really good setup. The drinks weren't just like we're an arcade and we also have old fashions. Like it was like a legit bar, and it had music going and it had a dance floor and people were there, hanging out. I don't think it's open anymore. I don't really know what happened to the chain. I mean, it is a niche thing, of course, but that's because most of the time nerds don't necessarily leave their house. So you're hard pressed to like get up and go to the arcade or whatever. But, and maybe that's what it is because arcades, they initially were a place for you to go play games because people didn't have them in their house. But now, we have them everywhere. And like we were saying earlier, is they have mobile versions, mobile game arcade machines. So it's like, well, I could just play that on my tablet. I understand that it's more fun to like for the experience of the giant screen. You're swiping at it and stuff, but it's like harder to get people to go play these things. It's interesting because internet cafes also exist still, and
South Korea.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to one to play. I used to go to play Counter-Strike with Jordan, and was it just Counter-Strike that we were playing? Because we didn't play like Dota or anything. I think it was specifically just going there to play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I believe it was only for Counter-Strike, but I remember we were attending, and that's obviously when you were there, you would see people playing Dota or playing World of Warcraft or all that stuff. So it was just crazy. Everybody was going people were literally like there all night. You just had people buying pizzas, and then they would just eat in there while they're continuously playing, and everybody's like, "Oh man, starting to stink." We gotta get out of here.
Most uncomfortable thing is everybody eating greasy ass pizza and using the keyboards, and it's like, oh my god.
That's why
our friend Rick is having like an aneurysm.
That one person just loses their mind, like, "You fucking asshole!" Just starts yelling, "Whoa, guys, it's just a game. Calm down."
Yeah, there was always like the same 5 people that were there doing WoW raids, and they were playing with the guy who ran the shop, so like they never had to pay because they'd be in the middle of a raid, and he's like, "Oh, just go add time." And
he'd only make them pay if they fucking wiped.
Lose. Yeah. And the thing is like that's probably why that place went under too, is because he was just giving time out to people in raids, and it's like, come on, man.
Well, I mean, when you said when you talked about insert coin, that's exactly what I was thinking. It was like, so everyone's just sharing all these remotes while eating food and drinking beer, and then it's like, cool. So we're just having like greasy ass controllers and all dirty and shit. It was like, well, all the controls are the player 2 controller.
I think they only had like alcohol. Like it wasn't like a gastropub where it had like burgers and stuff like that. It was like a nightclub, but an arcade nightclub.
Well, it's definitely like spilling everything on the table, and eventually the remotes and shit.
The sticky X button. You're like, oh. But they had like all their drinks were like Bowser's Castle and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. Like they definitely had like the theme down. I walked up and I was playing Killer Instinct and playing Mortal Kombat 2, and they had like classic arcade games as well as like console setups and stuff. It's nice to see like other people trying to do it, but it's so hard to pull people out of their home to like go. Like we went to Dave and Buster's. Granted, it was for a birthday and stuff, but I mean, it was just a group of 5 of us, and I'm pretty sure they made $300 just for the 5, and we didn't even eat there.
I mean, I haven't been to it, but you were saying before how you had like a gamer bar that was a bar first, but still had a bunch of arcade games. We have a place like that near here. I haven't actually been to it myself, because there's a place called Rad Junk, and that's that's a retro game store that I have been to, and it's pretty decent. But my friends told me that the owner also has a place just called the Rad Bar, which is pretty much is exactly how you described your own thing. Was just like it's a bar, everything's like based on video games and shit, and also has a ton of arcade stuff. But it's like a bar for gamers, which as you were saying, it's like it's cool. But it's also weird because most gamers are introverts and don't want to go to bars to begin with being around people. So there's people trying to keep that arcade scene alive, at least in some aspects, but it always just seems like, again, at least in America, you have to tack it onto some other service in order to entice people to even come in. Because, again, it's like we're just in a era where playing video games is so fucking simple. You just pull out your phone and do it. So going to arcade loses its magic somewhat if all you want to do is play a game. They really have to sell you that like arcade experience to be like, no, you can only get this experience here, you guys, you know?
Well, it's weird because, like, in my time playing Destiny, I read up on, like, a bunch of changes and stuff, and then Destiny pretty much has to make exclusive servers for, like, outside the US because in Korea, like, most of the stuff is, like, in the internet cafe. So pretty much if you're playing in the internet cafe, you have your own server, and it works very differently depending on like how much you're paying for that specific internet cafe to play Destiny on there. So you get more rewards because you're paying to play that game essentially. Even like you don't actually own it. You're pretty much paying like a daily subscription or weekly depending on how often you go. And there is like a certain limit per day, which is very strange and it's actually sounds pretty annoying. But I don't know. I don't have to deal with that, so I have no idea if it's good or not in that aspect on how they play it.
I mean, like I said, I don't know. I still like the arcade experience because it's just, I don't know, just a place you go with your friends. Obviously, you know, internet cafes and stuff like that don't really hold a candle in the States, but
I mean, I freaking love arcade pinball machines.
They're fun. I like pinball machines. I have no idea what's happening 90% of the time, but I know there's a bunch of lights going off, and I just making the good juices go off in my brain.
The good juices.
I mean, there's like each cabinet you can actually like purchase yourself, ignoring all those shitty retail tiny ones. But like the actual arcade cabinets are surprisingly cheaper than one would expect, but that's probably because they're mass produced ones. But I don't know, for like maybe an authentic one, it maybe might be like around 3,000 or so. But a lot of the ones that I've seen are usually around less than or around 1,200. Like the last time I checked, but that was a few years ago. But
yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, it would have been very entertaining and kind of interesting to have it in 2020. So this is like, hey, my garage is open, and then just play freaking arcade. Just go around the block or something, and then you'll pretty much have an arcade to go to. It was like, and if you're caught, well, you're around the block, so you'll be able to get home quickly, being out of lockdown. But it's pretty funny. It was like it's kind of interesting how people like incorporate all those arcade machines into their home, which is.
Well, it's almost like decoration, though, right? Because like I want a Gauntlet Dark Legacy machine, but it's like I want to buy it, but I know I'm going to buy it, and it's going to go sit in my man cave and just sit there and be like, yeah, that's a thing. And then if I actually want to play it, I'm just going to go turn on my GameCube. Like, not actually, because I think my father knew someone that I remember as a kid. He had a big one of those mini Terminator machines in his house, and I remember playing it at the time. It was fun, but it's like we got through the whole game in essentially like a couple hours, and it's like, well, that was a thing. And it was one of those bigger machines too. I'm like, I can't imagine how much this fucking thing was. Not to mention probably how much electricity it eats.
Well, the arcade cabinets remind me of. I have absolutely no idea if this is a little bit off topic, but it does have to do with arcade machines. But there was an episode in iCarly where the brother, Spencer, that was his name, where Spencer found an old, like, it's like in their world, it was Pac-Man, but it was called Pac-Rat. and then
Yeah.
it was like a beat up arcade machine, and then he fixed it up, and then to like almost damn near perfect. And then that was the only thing that he did all episodes, just play that. And then it's just funny because like he played it so often, it was like it's tearing this family apart because you're never hanging out with like anyone else, and you're like pissing in bottles, just constantly playing this game. And then he's like, I was like, oh, he's so good at the game that he actually is challenged, or no, he's dragged into a challenge to beat the world record holder for the most amount of levels beaten, and then he actually does win and freaking just go. I was like, he's just so freaking good at it. He beats the world record, and he goes out with the hot girl that held the world record until he beat her. So it was a 2-in-1 prize essentially. But it was some other games. I forgot what the other reference was. I don't know. I'll see if I can try and remember it. But that was like the first arcade reference that I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, I've been actually trying to get my friends to go back in Dave and Buster's recently because, again, the nice kind of thing about the modern day experience with arcade games is like the fact that I only had to carry a card with me that has all my, because I still have my Dave and Buster card. I think it still even has like credit on it. We didn't use all of our credit when we were playing last time, but it has all the credit on there, has my ticket count, has all that shit, so that it's, you don't have to like carry all, you like use all your coins before you leave or anything like that. So it's kind of nice. There's a few things about the modern arcade experience that makes it pretty decent, but I still miss the experience of like actually shoving in either quarters or tokens instead of swiping the fake credit card thing. I kind of don't really like doing that. I rather just have tokens. Some places still have tokens, but not every place.
So I kind of have a question. What was actually the start of the dying arcade? Because I just realized that besides like mobile and then like games being ported to consoles, there were such a thing as plug and play games. Because those were all just arcade games based on whatever the hell the shape of the console was. They just plug into your TV.
I mean, that's just how video games started. Almost was just arcade games. So like,
yeah, I mean, I would almost say that the downfall of arcades is just the accessibility of gaming in your house.
Yeah,
like people have PCs and everything else. Like it was a collective thing to go to the arcade and like play the fighting game against people. And I mean, that was so long ago. That was even before, I was going to them as a kid. Like when I was introduced to arcades, they were already just places you went to for birthdays. It wasn't like a hangout place. And, it was just kind of downhill from there because, I had a 64 at home. 64s had 4 controller slots. Yeah. I could play Star Fox with my friends.
PlayStation stuff, yep.
Yeah, PlayStation multi-tap. I could play games with my friends there, and your parents don't have to give everybody like $5 to like go burn all their quarters, and then the games are all like odd number of quarters, so you always end up with leftovers, and or that one game that's like $4 and you're like, why is this one so damn expensive?
Right.
But the Minecraft dungeon was like it's $5 per play. I was like, fuck no.
Yeah, it's like I could buy like a shitty like retro game for $5 and get a lot more play out of it.
To be fair, the Minecraft, I'll be fair to the Minecraft one real quick. It's like I think it's $5 because dying in that game is incredibly difficult. That game does not try to kill you at all. Like it is so easy to live in that game, so they probably really need to charge you per life to really get anything out of it.
Well, isn't it also because it gives you that card that you can use multiple times?
Yeah, it's another one where you can save your data on the card and come back and play it again, sort of thing.
Oh, I thought it was like you scan your card and you get like a weapon or armor that you can.
Oh, I don't know nothing about that.
No, well, it wasn't like initial D.
Oh yeah, no, you can get item cards, so like you can scan it on a QR thing in the beginning, and it'll give you like a named weapon or something that you might have gotten from last time. So it's like a weird progression.
Is that a Dave and Buster's or?
This one
it's in 2 places.
Mine was.
Yeah,
over
it
here.
Was like
it's
Dave and Buster's and free to play games or What the hell was it called?
Well played.
Yeah, well played. I
got so mad. What the fuck is that called again? Sorry.
Because I keep forgetting. It's just like there's too many like game stores that we've gone to, and I forgot which one's which. But yeah, it's also there. But it was like $5. So it's just like this is kind of ridiculous to try and play this constantly. It was like just collect like all the item cards, but it's just like it's randomized. So it's like there's like I think there's like 5 for each like type of item card you can get, because like characters, swords, bows, armor, and then like an item. But I think there's like maybe 5 to 7 each. So that's a lot of $5 bills, because it only gives you 1 per game that you play. I don't know if like you win or die, or like when you just start playing the game, or when you die that it gives you the card. So pretty much you're going to be spending a lot of money just trying to collect all those cards, and you pretty much be the most powerful person to play that game. which when I thought of it, I was like, that's kind of cool, but it's also randomized and also expensive as hell. But it's kind of like a trading card game, and I like Yu-Gi-Oh and shit, so it was intriguing. But I don't want to spend the money to go and do it. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Man, why isn't that a fucking arcade game? Actually, now I think about it, can you imagine, Edwin, if they had like a miniature version of like the first, like the thing that they used before there was like dual discs in the anime, where you like stood apart from each other on like a giant thing. Yep. And like, what if you like paid and like $5, $10, like it's like a really cool like VR kind of experience, and you get like a preset deck or something, and you put them on the thing, and there's like VR monsters in front of you, like hologram monsters and shit. How fucking sick that would be.
I was gonna say that myself, but I was thinking of it with Pokemon, like Pokemon Stadium, where you just had your side, you put the VR headset, cool, and you have your Pokemon right in front of you. You throw the Pokeball, and they come to life, and they're right there, right in front of you, and you just see their giant ass Nidoqueen or whatever, and they're ready to fight, and you see it right in front of you. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, well, there was actually like a tournament that went on in, I believe, Japan, where it's like at the very end when like they're the one leading this shit. So when the tournament was over and done with, they had like a special duel, which was exactly that you were describing. They had a hologram of like a few monsters, and then the final round for like play testing that table for like the projections of the monsters was Red Eyes versus Blue Eyes. So that was a cool thing to see.
Well, that's something I see again. It's in my Dave & Buster's, but they have a whole little section that's like a big, like super immersive VR experience. I'm not talking like my idea doesn't have you put on a headset or anything. It's just like a big giant stadium thing. Like it'd be expensive, but you would have to like charge out the ass to use it, obviously. But I almost feel like that's kind of a future, a prospective future for arcade machines is like VR. Because there's like a whole section of my Dave & Buster's where there's like a VR experience where everyone puts on like, you have to like go in there with a big group of people, and you all put on like VR headsets, and you do like some crazy doodad. I didn't look too much into it, but it's like its own separate thing, like apart from the arcade that you have to have like a party of people to do, and it's like super immersive VR kind of stuff, because it's just like that I feel is like what people would think of as like a next level arcade experience, is just like more VR stuff. Just like it has to be something that has to be either super expensive or super impractical to put in your own house. That's how arcades stay relevant nowadays.
Well, I know that they do have that now, where they've got the Knuckles, which is like the full-on hand grip, or your gloves, and then you got the Catwalk, which is the one that goes around your belt, and you wear like these slippers, and you're basically able to run in any direction, and it just keeps you sliding, so it looks like you're moving in a direction, but you're simply just staying in place. They got all these kind of things, but yeah, it's like, how much money do you really have to spend on this shit? And they got that, that vest where you can feel whatever, you're getting shot or whatever, and you're feeling the impact and stuff. Like, they got all that stuff now for VR.
Way too fucking expensive.
I mean, I guess that's the root of it, right? It's like that's how these places, like arcades, are going to stay relevant. That's how it was before. I mean, because arcades were super popular because playing games inside your house was either super expensive or impractical, or just, plain out non-existent at the beginning of all of it. So you stay relevant by giving people experiences that are impractical or expensive to be put in their house. But that also means they have to be like super ahead of the curve in terms of like gaming technology, and like, especially, like I said, VR stuff is probably where it will go in the future largely. But yeah, that's how they'll stay on top of ammo.
I mean, I did see 2 videos of like very unique arcade games where it's like it's not VR at all, but it's just like the floor is like it's like those like corridors of like lasers and such, whereas like you can't touch it. You can't touch like the red tile that like goes across the room on the floor, otherwise you lose, or like the floor is lava or something like that. It's like those types of games where, or like you have to get like across the room without like touching the red tiles, and like it's kind of it's pretty much is like a floor, or the floor is lava, but in like many different ways. Where like the tiles change from good to bad, and as like the lasers go across the room, and you gotta press the button on the wall and things and stuff like that. But like another one that I saw, it pretty much looked like a Mario Party game, and it had like this AR aspect because there was a screen on the wall, and then like a camera facing the entire room, so it captures everyone, and you don't really see it in the room, but when you look at the monitor, you see it's like, oh, the floor is collapsing, and then it's very funny because the I guess like the AR camera, it records everyone, including like what the floor actually looks like in the game. So when the floor crumbles below you before you can make it to like the safe spot, it it animates your body ragdolling to an endless pit. So it just looks very funny.
Yeah, that's relatively newish, right?
Yeah, that was the newest one that I've seen an arcade have. It was that type of game. Like the tile one was like I've seen videos of that for like several years. But that AR one, where like the ragdolling animation just is so janky, it's so funny. That was like the newest one I saw like maybe a month ago, and I shared it with I believe I shared it with everyone. But it was your choice to watch the video.
I didn't force you.
I'm just saying, it was like I shared it. You guys could have seen what I was talking about.
Your loss.
Find it. Yeah, your loss. I have to find out where it is. I'm curious. It's probably like one of those. There's like it's like in one place, or like just to beta test it, I guess. I'm pretty sure there was another game. It was. I think it was like the same thing that you guys were talking about, like that giant room with VR. It was like another video I saw many years ago, probably before 2020. I'm just using that as like a visual point. It was the same thing, where it's like you put on a VR headset and you have a large room, but it was a lot more sophisticated because it essentially is like definitely a higher budget, but like it graphically and like complexity, it was like very similar to like playing in like a battlefield of Halo or Call of Duty, and it was very cool to look at. But I'm pretty sure that shit was expensive as hell because it's like a maze that you run around. There's like adventure, like Tomb Raider adventures that you can go on with this thing, and it was just like it was just really cool to see the video of that. But I have absolutely no idea where that is. They showed the outside of it, and it looked like a freaking like one of those laboratory government like space telescope like facilities. That shit was huge, but for that type of game, it actually kind of makes sense. It was like the 3 cool arcade-ish type of things that I've seen videos of.
They're capable, and like I've even had like I'm gonna go visit my father here in a few months, and he's gonna make reservations to like this they call it an arcade, but according to him they just do this one like really immersive like Formula 1, I think it's called, like car racing experience that their whole arcade's based off of. But again, it's just supposed to be like this super immersive like experience that's like I'm interested to see how it is, because again, it's just like that's how they stay ahead of the curve. They just keep need of like reinventing the wheel and how people experience these arcade games in order to keep people's interest. Either that or keep tacking on random shit. I mean, fucking, I don't know. More movie. I would like movie theaters to have better arcades. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it might get people to go to them more often too. I mean,
True.
I still like going to the movies, so
I mean, I do too, but I mean,
As long as there
I
ain't no
just- I have no reason to stick around.
Yeah,
right?
like
I just
pain in the
I
asses.
get there,
talking.
to see the movie and leave, and like with the new format that they have, like pick a seat. I mean, it's not necessarily new because they've been doing this for a while, but like I just get on the app, I pick my seat, I buy my ticket, and I just show up at the time. Like before, you had to get there on time so that you could get a seat when they let free for all of people just go in and
Yeah.
So like if a new movie came out, people were lined up outside the theater for like 3 hours in advance, but you're at the movies waiting for your movies, so you probably were gonna play arcade games while you were just hanging out. So, but they don't do that anymore because I get there 5 minutes before my movie starts, and I've already bought all of the stuff using the app. So it's like I'm here to grab my popcorn and leave.
Or you get your stuff in advance, and then you go and you buy your ticket, and then they send you on your way, and you sit down, and then you're like, okay, let's watch the movie, and everything is fucking blurry, and you're wondering what the fuck is going on, and you find out you purchased a 3D movie, and they didn't give you your tickets or your glasses, so you're fucking like 10 minutes in, you're like, why the fuck is everything so shitty? And then I'm like, wait a fucking minute, and I look at my receipt, and I paid, I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, and I just like, scoot, move, everybody, get out of my way, move. Hey, I need my glasses. I can't see shit. I paid a lot of money for this fucking movie. Let me see it. And then they give you your damn thing. But it's like, that shit does happen even when you buy in advance. But then again, it was like kind of my fault because I thought I was just like, why is this fucking so expensive? It's just like a regular ass ticket. It's like, geez, man, they really need it. Nope. I got 3D. And I didn't.
I always every time I go to the movies, I'm just like, if there's even a possibility of 3D, I'm like, I want the 2D one, please. 3D adds nothing to movies. It's so worthless.
Your eyes hurt.
It's just so pointless. It's just like, it's just a gimmick. It doesn't add anything to the movie. It's just a pain in the ass. They make you pay more money for no reason.
There's nothing touching me. Nothing touching me. Please touch me. Nope, it's not touching me. All right, I want my money back.
Just waiting in the arcade for your movie to start, and then you're right in the middle of a game. It was like, well, I either lose my place in this game, or I'm missing the first part of the movie. I was like, I got one more life.
Just one more.
You've got one shot.
One opportunity. Sees everything you ever wanted. One moment. Be captured. Just let slip.
Oh shit! My mom's spaghetti. Weak sauce heavy.
Weak sauce is heavy.
Sauce heavy, mom's spaghetti. I don't know.
You just can't keep it in your mouth. It's so good.
I don't listen to am. Let's see. What are we at?
just looking.
What are you looking at?
Huh? No, I'm just looking at like different arcade machines because I was like, maybe I've forgotten something. But I was like, there is like one weird thing that me and my sister found out just randomly is how good my dad is at Galaga for no apparent reason. It's just like he was like, we went to an arcade with him one day, and then he's just like, he goes straight for the Galaga machine, and he's just aiming for that high score like it was nothing. And it's just like, damn.
Corey's dad goes for Moon Patrol.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Give me the Moon Patrol. I got this. You guys go do what you got. I got this. I'm gonna take care of this. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's like my mom and grandma. Well, my mom is good at Pac-Man because of my grandma. But it's like my mom and grandma are good at Pac-Man while my dad is good at Galaga. And then my sister are is like, we're pretty much jack of all trades, and no one knows what we're doing.
I do remember when my father brings me to like a regular arcade now and again, like I'm going around exploring all the crazy machines there's around, and every time I have to like go look for him for some reason, especially when I was a kid and I'm like, I need more money or something, I go looking for him. He always manages to find the one like Pac-Man / Galaga machine that's like dusty in the corner with all the spider webs over it, and like one sad crookedy stool in front of that arcade machine that no one plays anymore.
Dusted off the seat.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, fucking, how do you keep finding this in every place we go to? And it's It's the only thing he'll do. He's just sitting when he's fucking playing Pac-Man, man. He's fucking slamming that joystick left and right to go around those corners like you're fucking drifting in Mario Kart or something. Like it's so fucking
Where's
serious.
e-brakes?
Those
Did he just drift a
super
Pac-Man?
durable.
They are, but still, I mean, my dad's a big guy, so so when he's doing it, I feel like he's gonna rip the joystick off of its hinges when he's looking, just trying to make Pac-Man take a corner.
That'd be pretty funny to see, especially
Like,
the way you described it is just that one machine that's all dusty and broken, like between two perfectly new, very colorful and shiny new machines.
Right, it's
just
pretty much what it is. It's what it feels like, anyways.
It's pretty much the very beginning of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, exactly. Ironically, fucking, you don't see those mom and pop fucking arcades anymore because no one's gonna play those games anymore. That's why they sell them for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that movie was like based on an actual arcade somewhere.
I'm sure there's like still standalone arcades somewhere, at least in America. I'm sure in other countries there's probably even more, but I'm sure they're still around, but probably have a really hard time maintaining relevance and probably didn't help, COVID probably didn't help whatever situation they were in prior to it anyways.
Yeah, there's probably one guy out there just trying to throw as much money as he can to keep it still alive. He's like, "You're not closing. I'm throwing
You're not closing me."
Yeah.
What is it in Tampa? There's that replay museum, which is just like a bunch of like old classic pinball machines and like other classic games, but it's treated as like an experience where you pay at the door, and then I think you can go play stuff too. So
Yeah.
Wasn't that literally the video game night at the art museum that we went to?
Well, the one here was it was like an arcade night thing, and it was kind of like a get the nerds out to mingle with each other and play some games and get some beers, because it was like all you can drink ticket price, and they had Smash Brothers, Guitar Hero, like the video game store that we go to, Well Played. They had a lot of stuff there that they set up just for people to play old console stuff. So we played some Melee, I think, or I don't know which one it was. It might have been Melee. Then there was people playing like Madden. Then there was a projector with Mario Kart, and they had some other like arcade machines there, and they were doing like raffles and stuff. And then of course the other side of because it was like an actual museum that just had video games in it, so you're walking around and like playing games and sharing it was a good time. It was just weird because it only ran from like 6 to 9, so it's like 3 hours. I was trying to get my money's worth of beer because it's like I know that I paid you guys like $30 or whatever. I'm getting $30 a beer.
I'm gonna be crawling outside of this bitch when I'm done.
Well, I thought it was going to be like I because we've never been there, so I thought it was going to be a little different. Like I thought it was going to be more game. I thought it was going to be more like historic games, like actual arcade stuff. But it just seemed kind of like it's just like a local event thing, and less of like a huge ordeal. Because it literally was just like donated TVs and old consoles plugged in to them. Like, so we wandered around, and then we kind of gravitated towards the Guitar Hero setup for most of it, and then ended up leaving at 9. And it was like, okay, well, that was fun.
Well, that was
it was something to do.
That was the thing for me. It was like really, it like hurt my heart a little bit when I went down to DC, and then we went into a museum. We're like, oh yeah, let's go look at some real history. And then found out that, literally, like, the 90s is now the historical event that's going on with, like, video games and such. And I was like, no, I'm not that old. No, you can't be telling me fucking Game Boy, Super Nintendo. I was like, no, oh my God, this shit is, okay, that sucks. I'm now depressed. So I, like, walked out of there. And then they, it was even funny, as I was walking out, and they had, like, a lowrider. Lowrider was a part of history. They had it with flames and shit like out there. I was like, all right, this is funny, but I'm still depressed, and I walked out.
I laughed. Yeah, I laughed a little bit, but I'm still gonna kill myself. At least I went out with a smile on my face.
Before I pulled the trigger.
On my light gun.
On my light gun. Yeah. Fucking, I don't know. I'm honestly thinking I don't have Dungeons and Dragons this week. I'm gonna fucking ask my friends they want to go to Dave and Buster's. Now I'm thinking about
now
it.
you're gonna get it out of your system.
And then we have the myriad of machines that are just fucking, Wheel of Fortune in like 18 different flavors.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just giant wheels, spin it.
Yeah, there's like the Wheel of Fortune is pretty much a monopoly of arcade games.
Right. I'm kind of surprised that, again, going back to the whole Japanese thing, but it's kind of funny. I never thought about it, but like, fucking, I'm surprised pachinko machines haven't like caught on over here. I don't know if that really counts as an arcade game or just an alternate gambling thing, but
there's I saw some pachinko style like ticket games at the Dave & Buster's that we went to, where it's like drops the ball at the top and you're kind of turning the thing to try to get it to bounce over to like the bonus tab. That ball falls like a fucking rock though. It's like ready to go and it's just already at the bottom. You're like, oh well.
Yeah, I kind of forgot what pachinko machines were until you described that one.
You let the balls go and you just watch a bunch of they land in different things and you keep winning, you get more balls and rinse repeat forever and ever.
Yeah, but no, that one did actually fall. It's funny because it felt like a rock, but it bounced like a fucking balloon. That shit hit the ground so hard, it just went halfway up the screen, and then it fell again.
We were talking about it earlier. Actually, I just thought of something. I'm like kind of surprised there isn't like a Smash Brothers arcade game. Like kind of like I saw an actually come to, and that jogged my memory. There was an Injustice machine at the Dave & Buster's.
Yep, there was. Yep,
I've seen that.
And a Lara Croft one for Tomb Raider. I saw that
like a classic like arcade that I used to go to every time I went to Vegas, but they closed that one down. It was with GameWorks. That was the huge arcade like franchise. I remember going to the grand opening of it when I was a kid in Washington, like downtown Seattle. Like it was just this huge arcade building. There was like 3 floors of stuff, and that was like the first time I played like the newer House of the Dead game, and they had all types of cool shit there. And in Vegas, like you could go. It was by the Coke and M&M building or whatever. So it was like underneath, so you take like an escalator down to it and you could see it. And they had like the Sonic the Hedgehog fighting game. They had some crazy air hockey things, and it was like a pretty dope place to just chill. I mean, obviously for me because I like the video games, but you can also, it's Vegas, so there's pitchers of beer. You can get some food and stuff. And I mean, yeah, you're there to kind of gamble and whatever. But if you're, if you want to just play some games and still kind of kick it, like that was a pretty cool thing to do. But I think now it's like a giant Marshalls or something.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Marshalls doesn't sell arcade games. But probably did just to sell all the arcade machines they probably left behind.
Anywho,
Yeah,
do we have trivia for today, Jordan?
Oh, of course. I'm always ready. I've got 3 of them for you guys today. So the very first one is, in the arcade game Galaga, what is the player's spaceship called? Is it A, Phoenix, B, R-Wing, C, Exo, or D, Fighter?
R-Wing?
I want to say D.
Yeah, so I think it's just because this is a fighter, right? I don't think they'd overcomplicate it too much.
The answer was Fighter.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, because I figured it's like, I didn't even know the thing had a fucking name, so let's go with the most generic thing.
Answer was Barry. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, and question number 2. In Gauntlet, which character says, "Wizard is about to die" when their health is low? Is it A, Talot the Mage, B, Might the Sorcerer, C, Merlin the Wizard, or D, Quester the Magician?
C.
Wizard.
As much as I love that game, I honest to God did not know that the fucking wizard narrator guy had a fucking name. So I guess I'll go with Corey.
The answer was Merlin the Wizard.
It is Merlin? Okay, yeah. I learned something today.
He says it. He's just like, Merlin. I think it's like if you watch the like intro.
I watched it 100 times. I just never caught the name fucking Merlin.
I just conveniently sneeze every time he's about to say his name.
I don't know the name Merlin
it's
ever
me.
coming up.
And then the audio file skips out and you're like,
Hey, Merlin, stealing TVs.
It's me,
Like, I'm
Merlin,
just
stealing
like-
TVs.
The dark sorcerer, blah blah blah, summoned the dark lord, and then someone's fucking sealed him away. I don't know. Get out there, throw bombs. Fuck you. I don't care.
Destroy their homes. Give them nowhere to live so that they can die faster.
Just fireball.
I learned something today. That's all I can say.
All right, the third and final question. In Defender, what is the primary objective of the game? Is it A, defeat the alien mothership, B, rescue humans from aliens, C, navigate through a maze, or D, collect alien technology?
What the hell is Defender?
I want to say B.
Why does it sound familiar? Oh no, Defender. Isn't that the one? No, that's Space Invaders. God damn it.
Go with A.
Yeah, I'll just fucking go with A. I don't know. I thought I had it, but I'm just trying to figure out why it sounds so damn familiar.
Answer is B, rescue humans from aliens.
Yes, I got.
Which one is Defender?
Kind of like the knockoff of Galaga, basically.
Oh.
Oh, I was thinking about like it was like Galaga, but you actually have like shields.
It was some weird thing, yeah. But it was basically
almost-
you'd find Galaga a lot more fun than the Defender. But yeah, it was very similar.
I thought it was close to like the Missile Command or whatever.
I was thinking a completely different game after besides Galaga.
Like I said, I thought I had it, but I guess I didn't.
All right, well,
2 for 3.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and be wrapping it up. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Twitter, and our new YouTube channel to be notified of new episodes. Give us a comment to show us how we're doing. And for all you gamers out there, just remember to keep exploring, keep playing, and keep listening. Until next time, this is the Mediocre Rumble Brothers podcast signing off. Thanks for listening.
It'll be 100,000 tickets.
Hey, this is Corey, and thanks for checking out Mediocre Rumble Brothers. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you didn't, that's fine too. If you'd like us to talk about any specific games, drop a comment below, or feel free to discuss your experience with the games that we've mentioned in the episode. You can also listen to our episodes prior to YouTube on our Spotify. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.